Okay, I move around a little bit while I talk. Hopefully that's okay. I also keep my phone on me because I don't want to get you guys overtime. I get the hangry crowd, right? It's noon, it's right before lunch. That's probably why they made this the only room. So you have nowhere else to go and you're stuck with me for the next half an hour. I'm going to ask for a little participation during the session. It's not a lot of time, so I'm going to try to cover some stuff, but I want to make sure I'm covering what makes sense to you guys. So real quick, raise the hands. How many of you deal with marketing data? Okay, that's good. Website data specifically. Okay, a few less, that's all right. How many of you are dealing with data related to campaign, paid search, email marketing? Okay, that helps. All right, so let me start. I'll give you a little bit of context later. I'll get a quick introduction. So why is a marketing guy up here talking to you data and analyst people? I don't want to pigeonhole anybody. So I've been in data and analytics for my entire career. So most of the companies that I have worked for have been data and analytics companies. If you've heard of Domo, that's definitely one. If you've heard of Pluralsight, that's more on the technology education side of data and analytics. But data and analytics has always been a key part of how I do marketing. And as data and analytics professionals, you are always one of the first people that I want to be talking to in any company that I'm at, and especially one of my best friends at any company that I work for. And so as data and analytics people, I want to do it a little bit different from one of the consumers of your data. And I want to talk about a couple of things that I find that are important to me that hopefully can help you guys get some key wins in the organizations that you're at with your marketing partners. All right, so raise your hand if you've been to Seattle. All right, where are you from? From Renton? Oh, no, I'm from Woodinville, born and raised. If you've been to Seattle, or if you're from Seattle, this is a very familiar scene for those of us that grew up there. Seattle has over 200 days of rain a year. And on those days where it's not raining, you guys, it looks like that still. Now, it's not all bad. I still love it. And every once in a while, the sun peeks out. It's probably the most amazing thing that's happened to everybody that's in the city at the time. As a matter of fact, they'll call all of their friends and all of their relatives and tell them how beautiful Mount Rainier was that day and how gorgeous the weather is, and there's no place better in the world than Seattle. All right. I'm also a big sports fan. I'm a baseball fan myself. Unfortunately, sports in Seattle is often like the weather in Seattle. It's like 200, 300 days of gloom and rain and depression. But anytime we get a win, like this one 2 years ago, first round of the playoffs where we won and Adam Frazier hit one of the game-winning RBIs, like we called everybody about it. It's like a day of sun in Seattle. So again, it can be beautiful. It can be amazing. And when it is, we all know, you're going to know about it. I'll call you. I'll let you know. This is San Diego. How many of you are from San Diego or before? Okay, just a few. How many days of sun do you get in San Diego a year? 300. I know, it's 300. They brag about it. See, for them, sun is like a normal thing. And when it rains, that's what they call home about. They're like, it's raining. I can't go anywhere. There's nothing to do. I'm stuck inside. It's raining. Right? Well, and their sports teams have been better than ours too. Like, if you live in San Diego, you're winning. If you live in Seattle, you're definitely not. But my goal today is to take you from rainy Seattle, where the winds are few and far between, where the weather's gloomy, and nobody expects a whole lot from it, or your sports teams, to sunny San Diego, where there's 300 days of sun a year, and everybody brags about it, and if you live in San Diego, you win in life. Okay, so a little bit about ObservePoint. We are a web governance tool. So we are a tool for you guys. Now, what do? We help you wrap your arms around everything that's happening on your website. And I'm talking down to the minutia detail of what's happening on your site. Every single page, all the tags, all the cookies, all the tracking pixels, all the minutia detail that's happening, not just on all of your end destination pages, but how you are getting from point A to point B. So all of your redirects, all of the pages that are not performing, that are 404, all of that detail around the back end of your website that nobody cares about, but that you guys know affects their performance, the performance of that of your business partners, and specifically on the marketing side, where I have a pretty decent stake in how the website performs. Normally, when you're talking about that, you're talking about some pretty high-level data. This is the data that helps feed that. Okay, so here's a few of our customers. I'm going to ask. This is the more participation. Yeah, little complaint for a minute. I stopped by Starbucks because I wanted to bring Starbucks gift cards as incentives. Did you know that you can't buy Starbucks gift cards in Starbucks around here? 2 of them, neither of them sold me gift cards. It kind of seems like a miss to me, right? Where else do you go for a Starbucks gift card? Anyway, you're stuck with socks. So sorry I couldn't help the appetite, but I can cover your feet. So does anybody know in the main domains of these companies how many pages Google has indexed? Guesses. Raise your hand and guess for US Bank. 5,000. You're close. You're close, and honestly, I think the build on this broke. It did. So it's actually 2,065. All right? How about Microsoft? Anybody know for Microsoft? 20 million. Close. Under their, not actually. Under their main domain, it's only 360,000. But you get socks for guessing. Okay, Pepsi. This one will surprise you. 150. Oh. But you get socks for trying. Okay, actually only 2,000 under their main domain. However, they have over 500 brands. They have over over 51 billion brands underneath the PepsiCo umbrella. That's a massive company. So if you aggregate all of those, they're well over 1 million pages. But under just PepsiCo.com, they're only like 2,000 pages, so not very many. Okay, what about Adobe? 500,000. You are on your way. There you go. All right, Adobe is 1.5 million under their main domain. Okay, so how many of you look at your web analytics? Raise your hand. Okay, if you had to go look through 1.5 million pages, or if you only had to go look through 2,000 pages, how long would it take you to find whether the Adobe Analytics tag is on each page? How long would it take? Yeah, I don't have the answer to that one either, but I know it's long. Nobody wants to go look through that. And that's essentially where ObservePoint is. That's where we come in. That's what we do. We're an automated web governance platform. We go scan the website. We pull in that type of information across millions of pages, if you have that many. And then we surface what you guys need or want to know about those pages. Okay? So that's the angle that I'm coming from. Now we have, you saw some of our customers. I'm going to use some of those examples as I go into some of my suggestions for today, and I'm going to pull from what they do successfully to make some suggestions on how you guys might be able to have some wins with your web data, whether you use ObservePoint or not, among your business partners. Okay? Question: what data do you guys look at to measure the performance of your website? Oh, dang it. Well, I just gave that away. So whoever said visits, who was? Okay. You said the first one, and I'm just assuming you were going to say the rest of them. All right, so pretty standard, right? what metrics, now how does this differ from metrics that you look at if you're going to look at a website, how your customers experience your website? How does that change? Referral source, great one. What else? Say that again. Page load speed, great one. Heat map, yes. All right. Time on site, yes. So I grabbed a couple of those, and you guys added a couple to it. But the data that you look at, raise your hand if you gave me an answer, because I think we got one here. There you go. And we got one over here. There you go. And we've got another one back here. All right. So it's a little bit different data than you look at to just look at page performance, right? All right. So my next question, and this is more of a hypothetical, is who cares about this? We collect all this data. You guys look at all this data. You are the source of website performance, whether it's looking at performance of the website from an internal perspective or whether it's looking from your customer's perspective and their experience. You guys collect all that data. But who in your internal organizations actually care? Who are you serving it up to? You have a few examples of who you might be sharing that data with here, and who might care about that data. And the reason why I have this up here is just to show you that there are a lot of consumers of web data in your organization. And it is more than who you think. So even if you are partnering with all of these already, this was just an example. Almost every department in your organization has a stake in what happens on the website, which puts you in a very unique situation. Right now, if you look at a traditional org chart, you're going to look at an org chart that looks like this, right? Everyone probably has it in their HR tool, and it's going to look something like this. The problem with this is that it buries the data way down here. And to get it out to all those organizations that we just identified, you have to push through multiple levels. You're basically swimming upstream. Anybody tried that? It is not fun, right? You do not make very good progress, and you're expending a ton of energy for a very minimal impact. I'm going to propose a change, and this is one that obviously is going to take a little bit of time. But those organizations that we work with where data is a central center of excellence or a central service organization who has a direct line into each of the customers that consume their data are far more successful. All right, so I'm gonna give you 5 steps. I got a little animation because that looks way better than swimming upstream, right? Okay, so I'm gonna give you 5 steps that are gonna help you start this process in your own organization. And we have seen this win with our customers. And as a matter of fact, it's not even something that we originated, but it's something we're certainly adopting or have adopted and that we work with each of our customers to adopt as well. So I'm going to get you from Seattle, where the winds are few and far between, and where every sunny day is like paradise, to San Diego, where every day is sunny, and where you guys are providing value every single day and in every single interaction, okay? So I'm going to go through the first 5 steps, and I'm going to give you an example within our customers of how this worked. Okay, so step number 1, pick your partners. Look at your organization, find out who your consumers of your data are, and create a partnership with them. Make it formal. Go talk to them in person, create a partnership with them, create that relationship with them. All right, that's the first step. Second step is identify the data that they care about the most. I can't tell you how many times I have gotten reports that have had so much more information than I care to even know or that I need at the time. And when that happens, there's a problem that happens with that. When I get a whole bunch of data that I don't need, I ignore it, everything except what I need at the moment. And most of the time, if I don't need it, like what I depend on the person who sent me that data for becomes less and less, right? So you're losing your stake with your partner when that happens. So identify the data that they need to do their job. Identify the data that they need to win within their organization and with their executives, okay? Next one, set up a schedule. Find out how often they need it, right? And deliver it to them when they need it, even if it's an over-deliver. If they don't need it, if they're asking for daily and they don't need it daily, give it to them daily anyway. And then check in and make sure, all right? Step number 4, deliver. That's what I just mentioned. And step number 5, add value. This is one that I find most data and analytics organizations miss. You guys are more than just consumers of the data, aggregators of the data, deliverers of the data. You guys are in a unique position to interpret the data, to make recommendations, to surface insights that they're not going to find otherwise. But that only happens if you understand who your partners are and if you understand what their needs are. Okay, so I'm going to go through an example of this with a customer of ours. That customer, has anybody ever heard of Room and Board? Okay, you've maybe bought something from them online. They're a pretty decent sized company, not massively huge, but they do roughly $400 or $500 million a year. Okay, so they're a pretty good sized company. So I'm going to go through each of these steps and tell you what they did. First off, pick your partner. When this particular individual started at Room and Board, the first thing that she did is she picked her partners, and she didn't pick them all. You got to have wins, so don't try to bite it all off at one time, right? So the wins that she looked for, number 1 was with demand, 2, web development, and then 3 with the executives. All right, anybody have experience with those teams? Okay, maybe a little bit. There's some hesitancy and a lot of either half hands or no hands. Don't be scared. That's all I will suggest. Don't be scared to reach out to these organizations and create a partnership. That's where the value starts. Okay, next one. Identify the data that they need. Right? So the first thing that she did is understand their business a little bit. Ask questions. What is important to you? What do you look at every day? How is success in your role measured? This is what she found. Demand and digital. They needed to save ad spend. When she walked into the organization, it was roughly around 2020. Everyone was experiencing a big spike in anything happening online because nobody left the house. So everything online spiked. The problem is that all tapered off about a year and a half later. And now all of a sudden people are cutting budgets. They have to say, every organization has to save. There started to be layoffs. And so that demand organization needed to figure out a way to save money, to be more effective with their spend. Web development. Work with the web developers. They're an online retailer. Web is central to everything that they do. But the problem that they had is if they had a problem, not only were they having a difficult time finding that problem online, they were having an equally difficult problem actually getting it fixed. So they're sending traffic to all these pages that couldn't convert. Not only could they not convert, they might not even be working in the first place. And half the time they didn't even know it. That's a problem for an online retailer, right? And then finally, the executives. This is a big thing for them. And again, remember that spike. When they're looking to save money and they're trying to figure out how this organization is going to continue to run and grow in a recession, they have to figure out how to get more from the team that they have. All that headcount that everybody had during 2019 and 2020 when no one could do wrong, all the headcount went away, but the targets did not. So how do you get more with the team that you have? Okay? They identify the data. Now they set up a schedule. That one's pretty easy. Find what their schedule is, deliver the data on schedule, right? The part comes into how you deliver it. So let me ask you a question. How many of you have 0 unread emails in your inbox? I'm impressed. I definitely do not. How many of you have 0 unread Slacks? We got a few more, okay. Text messages, anybody get stuff through text? Get information through text? No? Okay. I know plenty of people that do. I know plenty of executives that do. They won't consume data, it will just kind of, whatever's sent to them through email, through Slack, through whatever channel is just going to get lost unless somebody sends them a text. So find out with each of those partners, what is the method of delivery that means the most to them so that your data doesn't get lost. So that what they're asking you for doesn't get lost amongst the hundreds of other emails and Slacks and texts and Jira tickets and the task created from Monday.com. There are so many platforms. Key to identify the platform that works best for them. Okay? And then add value. Don't just send them data. Send them data with some insights. And this is what she did extraordinarily well. Is she found what it meant to them, and she quantified it for them. She saved them the work. So, for example, I'm going to take that $1.64 million saved in wasted ad spend. First thing she did, and she did use Observe Point to do this, she scanned all of their campaign landing pages. She found that roughly 7% of those campaign landing pages were leading to broken pages. So, that helps on the remediation side and trying to figure out that process. But what she did is she started just by redirecting those. She redirected those to the pages they knew would work, that were relevant to the campaigns that they were running. And just like that, they were no longer wasting $1.64 million just sending traffic to broken pages. That's an easy win. Now, whether they converted or not is a whole different story. I don't know. But they were wasting that much ad spend just sending to broken experiences. All data that you guys have really easy access to. Some of this other was perhaps maybe a little bit more creative math. But one thing they did figure out is in the process of this, in the remediation of those web pages, by identifying them faster and by creating a process to fix those faster, they saved a significant amount of time. As a matter of fact, you can see by year 2, it was almost a third of a person's full-time job just fixing stupid errors on a web page. Okay? Once you have this down, it's easy. Rinse and repeat. Do it again with your next business partner. Do it again with your next business partner until you've put yourself the center of this universe that depends on the data that you have, and that's the unique position that you guys are all in. That's why I make the data and analytics team in every company I work at my best friend and one of the first people that I go make my best friends with, is because I depend on the accuracy of the data you send me. I depend on your insights. I depend on the data, what your job is day to day, to make good decisions for the company, to decide where to spend ad spend, to decide which pages need to be rewritten on the website, which are performing, which are not, what content's being consumed. That all comes from you guys. All right? And that, you guys, in the short time that I have, is how you get to sunny San Diego. I'm going to leave a couple minutes open. I'll leave this up. For Observe Point, do have free accounts. No credit card, all that stuff. But it is a free account. You have up to 300 pages that you can scan and have full access to our website. Or full access to our platform, our entire platform. So go in and check it out. Obviously, we'd love to have more conversations. For now, with the few minutes that we have left, are there any questions from you guys? Okay. Say that one more time. How do we adapt to Google changing our algorithm every quarter? We're not necessarily an SEO tool, so it's not something that we have to worry about. We worry more about the changes that Google would make, like around third-party cookies, for example, and our ability to collect and track information across web pages and across domains. That's more where we play. And when it comes to that, we have a unique ability where we are not necessarily tied. We're not a tracking pixel. We are not a tag that is placed on the website. So we have an ability to crawl across that and collect the information around the tags, but not tied to the tags. But other than that, we don't really work with the Google algorithm. Any other questions, guys? Seriously, it is free. You can trust me. Yes. One of our strongest use cases is data layer validation. Also, for those of you that are involved in anything privacy compliance, for example, which continues to be more of a pressing concern, especially for anybody doing business anywhere in the US, as there's now, I think, 8 states with their own unique privacy guidelines. It obviously grows exponentially internationally with the countries and their guidelines for data collection and sharing. We do that as well. Any other questions, you guys?
So I had that was one of my questions about our international footprint. So are you global, or how do you, because I know Europe's got all kinds of issues, right, that we don't necessarily deal with?
We are. We are global. We work in, I think, 52 countries right now across the globe, but there's really no limitation. The web is the web, and that's the even if the laws that regulate it are a little different country to country. Okay, thank you guys, appreciate it.